All right, this next section we're going to be looking at are the submission settings for your call. I'm going to select the Submission Settings tab, and we'll again walk through some of these settings one by one. Now, under the Edit Submission Settings, the first thing we encounter is the max entries per user. So this allows you to limit the amount of entries that each one of your users can submit. So, for example, here I've got 4 entries set up. As soon as the user submits their 4th, it would no longer allow them to enter any more into the particular call. There's also a submission start date and a submission end date. These dates are used for the online submission period. So if you had a user signed up, and right now I have my start date is November 6th, if they came on the 5th to the website and tried to add a submission, it would pop up with a message that says submission start on November 6th. And the same thing if they tried to add after the end date, the system would prevent them from submitting a submission. Now, these instructions here are any specific instructions that you want to add on the actual submission page. So if you have specific criteria for the way that submissions must be handled or submitted, then you would put in those instructions right here. And I'll look at how that displays in just a second. Now, this submission fee is very similar to the user registration fee. If you require a fee per submission, you can go ahead and select this checkbox and then enter that fee right here. And then that way the user would have to enter their credit card details before they would be allowed to submit their submission. But you can simply toggle that on and off. Now I'm just going to select down here at the bottom, Update Submission Settings, and show you exactly what the user would see. So I'm going to come over here to my other web browser, and I'm going to log in as if I was a user account. Now I've already created a sample user account, and I'll go ahead and log in. I've got one set up with just a simple dummy account here called Jane at ArtCall, and I'll log in to her account. Now, I've already submitted a few submissions underneath Jane's account, but this is the view of the user. This is what they see when they log in. So really they see their current submissions, and then they have an Add New Submission button. So I'm going to select the Add New Submission. Before I do that, I should note you'll see that the users are presented with a notice up here that tells them how many submissions they're allowed, and also the submission period, along with a few other details about the call. When I select the Add New Submission button, you'll see that any special instructions you entered back on the administration page will show up here in this top section for the new submission. Now, submissions are a 2-step process. The first page here is where you enter the submission details, and then the second step is where you would add any images alongside your submission. So this is what this page looks like. Now I'll step back here and I'm going to turn on that submission fee. So I'll say yes, there is a submission fee, and we'll say this is $25 per submission, and I'll go ahead and update that. Now I'll step back over here to see what the user sees, and I'll refresh. And you can see as soon as you've added that fee, again, you're presented with the same credit card credentials, and they would be required to pay this fee in order to get to the next step and actually submit their images. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and toggle that setting off, and we'll look at a few of the other settings. Now down here, this is similar to the user registration fields, to where by default, all users have to submit into a category and an optional medium, and then they have to provide a title, and they have to provide an image, at least an image on the next page. Now optionally, they can submit the dimensions, a description of their submission, a URL, or a sale price. If they want to sell their art, they would you would select this, and that would allow them to enter a sale price. And then again, you can set up custom fields for any specific item that's not listed in here. And I'll just say custom thing here. And I'll go ahead and update the settings here, and we'll step back and see how that changed the submission page. So I'll refresh here, and now you can see they have to enter a sale price and then the custom thing here along with their submission. Now, later in the tutorial where we do the user submissions, we'll walk through all these and I'll take you through submitting one. Right now, we're just focused on setting up the actual administration side. Once we have all these settings up, we'll look at the user, the juror, and the admin account in detail.